Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Expert, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess and we do these live streams every single weekday, taking a look at what's going on in the markets, looking at the price of Bitcoin, predicting the future price of Bitcoin, and just all in all having a lot of fun. So let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin this morning. We have Bitcoin sat at $27,685. We have Ethereum sat at $1,739. So in the last 24 hours, we have seen a slight move to the downside. We will be discussing this later in today's stream when we do some Bitcoin and Ethereum analysis. But first of all, let's crack on with a bit of cryptocurrency news. So first of all, we have Microstrategy edges closer to break-even point as Bitcoin eyes $32,000. Now let me just make sure the stream is all running perfectly. Let's check that we have this all in order. It's looking good on my end. Let me know if there are any issues. Ali kind of said he's come over from Twitter. Please make sure to like and subscribe and press that bell notification button and go over to our Twitter profile as well and retweet that tweet sharing the stream as far as possible. We are trying to reach all ends of the internet so we can educate people about cryptocurrency and help grow the channel as big as possible. We are on a mission to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of today's stream, so please make sure to help us towards that goal. Let's take a look at this article anyway. So Microstrategy are still in a loss. Now Microstrategy started dollar cost averaging in from the highs of the previous bull market, and throughout the bear market they have bought and bought and bought and bought, trying to bring their average entry price down, and their current average entry price is at around $32,000, and we are approaching that level pretty nicely, so they may see profits for the first time in a long time. They've been holding on to unrealized losses for months now, and now I believe it's been about 10 months since they've been in a profit from their position. So let's take a look at this article a little bit more and see what is happening. MicroStrategy and its ex-CEO Michael Saylor are renowned for their dive into a Bitcoin strategy after they made their first Bitcoin purchase in Q3 of 2022. Now, if we take a quick look at the price of Bitcoin on the daily chart, you can see Q3 of 2020, I swear that said 2020 and I said 2022. Yep, it's 2020. So from here to here, they were accumulating. This is when they began their accumulation, we should say. They accumulated throughout this whole bull market, and then they continued to accumulate throughout the bear market as well. So they did bring their average entry price down to that $32,000 level. And they are looking like they could potentially see profits for the first time in a very, very long time. So that's it. The first time in 10 months they've got unrealized profits on their balance sheet. Hopefully that continues and we continue to hold above the $32,000 level. That is exactly what we want to see at Crypto Saving Expert. We want to see the price of Bitcoin soar. So let's take a look at the next article now and see what is happening here. First Republic Bank stock price tumbles amid further fears. So we've seen a huge amount of fear in the US banking system within the last couple of weeks, following Silicon Valley Bank for shutting down, and then Signature Bank, and then Silicon Bank, and then a lot of fear about everything else going on with the banking industry. We are seeing many different bank stocks tumble, and this is yet another one. So First Republic Bank, with the ticker FRC, joins the list of banks that have and are suffering the same fate, and it appears the United States banking system is on the brink of a whole unwind. The contagion risk has now turned from fear to a matter of fact, if the stock market is anything to go off, with investors appearing to sell any bank exposure possible. So I have pulled up the chart here on TradingView, and it is astonishing the amount of decline we've seen for this stock. If we take a look at the percentage change from the 8th of March, so just a couple of weeks ago, to now, we've seen a 90% decline in the value of that stock. Now, in cryptocurrency, maybe we're used to these kinds of declines, but in the stock market, this definitely is not the case. That is a very unusual situation. We are seeing that with many banking stocks within the US as the confidence in the industry falls, and we are seeing contagion across the different banks, but we'll see how this continues. Let's take a look. Tim said looks like a crypto chart. Yes, it definitely does. Usually we like to see this in the opposite direction though. This is something that we do commonly see in the cryptocurrency market, but not something we see regularly in the stock market. So more growing concern over there. One thing I've just remembered to do, let's pull up the fear and greed index for crypto at the end of today's stream, just so I don't forget to mention it, because that's something we definitely want to talk about today. Let's take a look at the next news article now before you forget. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and press that bell notification button to help us grow the channel as big as possible. We are trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we need your help to do so. So I would greatly appreciate it. Let's take a look what is happening here. I think we also added super chats onto the live stream yesterday. I tried to anyway. We've added super chats in. I've tried to convince Jordan to let me have them on the cusp, almost there. He said if we get a big one, I can have it, but the small ones, Crypto Saving Expert, I've got to keep. I mean, Jordan spent I'm pretty sure around $1 million to create Crypto Saving Expert. So we need to create a profitable business, essentially, as always. So it doesn't quite seem fair for me to keep the super chats, but I'll continue to nag and see how far I get with that anyway. Let's take a look at this article here and see what's happening. The government, DeSantis, introduces legislation protecting Floridians. I don't know, people from Florida. I've never had to say that word before in my life. From a Fed-issued central bank digital currency. Floridians, I would say, maybe. So the governor from Florida has introduced a bill banning the use of a federal-issued central bank digital currency in the state. Now, there are a huge amount of fear around central bank digital currencies. Tim's just said it doesn't look like they're active, but he agrees the super chat should come to me. I'll have another go at that and see how we can do that. It might be something I need to set on each individual live stream, maybe. So central bank digital currencies, let's talk about this. They're not necessarily cryptocurrencies, they're just digital assets. And many people have problems with central bank digital currencies because they're programmable money, and therefore the governments can program them to do whatever they wish. Some people go as far as saying that we may have it programmed so you can't spend over a certain amount of money on things that could harm the environment, or you can't spend a certain amount of money on something else, or your money could expire. So they could say you can't save your money anymore. Instead, after 100 days, your money disappears out of your account. It becomes worthless. So we could have expiration dates on our money. And this is all things that are possible with programmable money. Whether it will happen, we don't know, obviously. Many different countries around the world are trying to test out central bank digital currencies and do a pilot scheme to see if it's something they want to introduce in the future, including the UK. Many of them are saying that they want to do the transition from our current financial system to central bank digital currencies incredibly slowly, because if they introduce central bank digital currencies and then we all just dump all of our money out of the banks into the central bank digital currency, we could see a problem with the banking system. So they're making it very slow, and you can only deposit a certain amount of money into central bank digital currencies for the first couple of years, I believe, especially specifically in the UK, and I'm sure many other jurisdictions have the same sort of idea. But a lot of people have fear around them. So let's take a look at this. I mean, let's talk about that a little bit further actually first. So central bank digital currencies, there are those fears, and there are those fears about the banking industry collapsing if it's not governed in the right way to make sure the transition is slow. But we also need to look at the positives of central bank digital currencies. Not many people have positive things to say about central bank digital currencies, but I'm going to bring one to you here. If we have a central bank digital currency and we need to transfer money on the blockchain, how are they going to allow people to transfer money without educating them about cryptocurrency? So if they teach people how to use the blockchain, how to make cryptocurrency transactions, and then they make ridiculous laws about how much we can spend our money and if our money has to expire, then people may move to other blockchains like the Bitcoin blockchain. So they may well be educating people about cryptocurrency and pushing them towards our sector, causing adoption. And that is definitely what we are hoping for here at Crypto Saving Expert. We want adoption of cryptocurrency as much as possible, and we expect that to continue. But seeing laws like this, we are seeing some people clap back and say, no, we don't want central bank digital currencies. And this governor in Florida is making his stance incredibly clear. So Florida is on path towards becoming the first US state to ban the use of a federally issued central bank digital currency within its jurisdiction. On Monday, the state's governor announced a legislative proposal to protect Floridians, again, no idea, from the Biden administration's weaponization of the financial sector through a central bank digital currency. The proposed bill seeks to protect consumers and businesses in the state of a Fed-issued CBDC through 3 measures. Firstly, banning the use of a federal adopted CBDC as money within Florida's Uniform Commercial Code. Secondly, the legislation would prohibit using any other CBDC issued by a foreign reserve or foreign sanctioned central bank within Florida. Thirdly, the legislation urged other states to join Florida in adopting similar protection measures to fight back against the concept nationwide. Taking a look at the chat here and see what it happens. Sean said we had an active chat last time, super chats last time. Strange, I'll have another look at that. Tim says, I don't mind central bank digital currencies, but will I use them over usual cash? Not sure. But everything blockchain, I probably black. Not sure yet. Interesting conversation to have with central bank digital currencies. I mean, if we look at the traditional financial system, we used to use shells as currency, then we had gold, and then we had gold-backed notes, and now we just have notes that can be overpopulated as much as they want. They can print and print and print our currencies right now, and then obviously we have digital banking apps, so we can make transfers over the internet still. And I think the next step in that system is to completely digitalize it all. I mean, cash isn't something that you can expect to be around forever. We're digitalizing everything. So in that process, we are likely to see the technology improve and then adopt blockchains to record our transactions and our data. I wouldn't say central bank digital currencies are absolutely ridiculous and they should never happen, because anybody that expects cash to be around in 200 years needs to think again about that. We are digitalizing everything. To have paper money is quite an old concept. So I am expecting something to happen, but it's the rules of which can be programmed into the money that people are concerned about. If we make that perfectly clear and they continue to operate with giving people their free will to do whatever they'd like and spend whatever they'd like to spend their money on, then we can still be happy with this decision. Let's take a look at the next article and see what will happen over here. We have, before we get onto this, please don't forget to like and subscribe and press that bell notification button to help us grow the channel as big as possible. We are trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we really need your help to do so. So please make sure to share the channel with your friends as well. Help them get into the cryptocurrency industry ahead of the next bull market. We are expecting big gains here on the channel, so it's best to follow along with the latest cryptocurrency news so you know exactly what's going on within the markets. Taking a look at this, Amazon set to fire 9,000 employees as tech layoffs deepen. So taking a look here, the CEO of Amazon, who stepped in for Jeff Bezos, announced on Monday the company would seek to cut another 9,000 jobs. The layoff came after the previous round of job cuts saw the company part ways with 18,000 employees, and the departments affected were reported to be cloud services, advertising, HR, and team members of its Twitch company. So they have written a letter to employees. I've also pulled up the price of Amazon stock over here. We can see that on the daily chart, Amazon has been falling just like the cryptocurrency industry. We will be talking about the correlation between the cryptocurrency markets and the stock markets later in today's stream. But you can see here, Amazon peaked at around November 2021, similar to Bitcoin, and since then it's been on a rapid movement to the downside. If we take from the high November the 17th to today's price, we have had a 50% decline in the last year, and that highlights the importance of the 90% decline we saw in this banking stock over the last 2 weeks. This is being seen to be a rapid move. That is something that is very uncommon within the stock markets. Let's take a look at how many viewers we have on today's stream. We've got 20 viewers so far, and we only have 17 likes. Please make sure, if you haven't already, to like and subscribe and press that bell notification button to help us grow the channel as big as possible. We currently have, let's see how many we've got, 2,768 subscribers. Let's hit a subscriber goal of 2,775 by the end of today's stream. That's the goal for today. Please make sure to help us with that goal and like and subscribe so that you don't miss all of our amazing cryptocurrency analysis. Let's take a look at the next article here. we have crypto exchange OKX to stop services for Canadian users by June. Now, we are seeing many different cryptocurrency exchanges trying to enter into different jurisdictions and helping with cryptocurrency adoption. Now, there are many different regulations about cryptocurrencies all across the world and cryptocurrency companies. If a cryptocurrency exchange can be the first to break into a new jurisdiction and perform well and get the adoption of their exchange within that jurisdiction, it's a massive opportunity for the exchange as a business. However, many different cryptocurrency exchanges recently have been trying to get into a new jurisdiction and capitalize on that opportunity, but the regulations just seem to be too harsh, and then they have to move out of the jurisdiction. We've seen this over and over again recently, especially as regulations tighten after FTX's collapse last November. So in this article we can see here, Seychelles-based cryptocurrency and derivatives exchange OKX has informed its Canadian users that it will cease all services in the country from June 2023 due to new regulations. So as the Canadians increase regulation, it makes it difficult for exchanges to operate there. The firm have added, your funds will remain safe in your account until you withdraw them. You'll be able to withdraw dollars to your linked bank account and cryptocurrency to your self-custody wallet or your cryptocurrency account on another exchange. OKX's withdrawal from Canada is temporary, and we are working with regulators to solve this issue. So that is what we are seeing now. Obviously, this is not the first we've seen, with the Canadian Securities Administrators issued a notice regarding the operations of cryptocurrency exchanges in the country, and last month the CSA announced that it would require exchanges to sign new undertakings while pursuing registration and the regulatory agency. The new undertaking bans such firms from purchasing or depositing stablecoins through crypto contracts without the administrator's consent. So previously, crypto exchanges must register with designated regulators before providing related services to users in the country. But OKX is not the first crypto exchange to offboard users in Canada. In July, we saw Bittrex do the same thing, and we've seen KuCoin and Bybit have paid millions of dollar fines to the Ontario Securities Commission for operating as non-compliant platforms in the Canadian province. So Canada's regulations are making it incredibly difficult for a cryptocurrency exchange to operate fairly and to the rules, so many are just choosing to exit the space. And we do see this frequently, as I have said. But now it's time to move on to the next article. We have EOS Foundation announces a $20 million fund to develop the EOS network. So anticipating the upcoming launch of the EOS Ethereum virtual machine on April 14th, EOS Network Ventures has committed $20 million in funding to develop the EOS network on decentralized applications and gaming products. So taking a look at this, they've said the investment is part of an effort to make the quickest EVM able to compete with competitors after falling behind as a DApp ecosystem. In the bold statement made by them, the Twitter post claims that EOA has always been the best technology but lagged behind the competition due to the lack of investments. So developers utilize the Ethereum virtual machine, EVM, or often known as virtual computer, as a software platform to build decentralized applications and to run and deploy smart contracts on the Ethereum network. But the EVM also helps for cross-chain interoperability. And we can use it to really help. I mean, this goes into a lot of detail. This is more of a technical topic, but let's take a look how EOS has responded to this. We have seen a bit of volatility in the markets, actually. If we take a look at EOS, this is on a nice move to the upside. We have seen increases over here, just like we did the rest of the market. Tim said, I swapped EOS into Bitcoin last year. Maybe time to swap back. Interesting project. Yes, I will do a bit more. I used to know a lot about this project. I would like to do a little bit more research and see what they're doing as of recent following this article. It's not a project that I've kept up to date with, but it's definitely one that I am interested in. This is 256 said, tuned in from Uganda. Thanks for the updates. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's really nice to hear that people are enjoying the streams, and please make sure to like and subscribe and press that bell notification button to help us grow the channel as big as possible. We are currently on 2,768 subscribers, on a mission to get to 2,775 by the end of today's stream. Let's take a look at the next piece of news we have here. So FTX US debtors file lawsuit against FTX Digital Markets. So debtors actually, do you know what I haven't done yet? I haven't changed my little slideshow so that we can see we're now talking about the cryptocurrency updates. I made this new template for the stream. Let me know what you think. It's great, but it's going to give me a little bit of time for me to remember to update the stream. Let me just have a little bit of coffee before we continue. Perfect. Ready to go. We have FTX US debtors file lawsuits against FTX Digital Markets. Debtors who took over the proceedings at FTX US after the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy have allegedly launched a lawsuit against the Bahamian branch of the company. Hold on, let's check a look at this. Tim says the template needs to be a touch smaller. That's it, in my opinion. Let's take a look at, let me check how the stream is. Yeah, what I think needs to happen is the text yesterday was a little bit bigger and that I'm overlaying on the text a bit. So I'll work with that. Yeah, I will work on that. Thank you, Tim, for letting me know. So taking a look at this article, the legal representatives of FTX US, Alameda Research and FTX Trading are reported to have launched a lawsuit against FTX Digital Markets in a dispute over ownership. So FTX and the other companies connected to it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in November 2022. If you don't know that, you've been living under a rock in the world of cryptocurrency, and this was after the exchange was left insolvent. Alleged events within FTX are expected to be debated in court at some point. Sam Bankman-Fried pleaded not guilty to criminal charges earlier this year. We also reported on potential changes to his bail conditions earlier this month. So SBF got taken to court with charges of conspiracy of wire fraud, conspiracy of something else, the actual thing, conspiracy of something else, the actual thing. I think he had 6 charges against him, and he pleaded not guilty to them all. Now, Gary Wang and Caroline Ellison, who also worked for Alameda Research, they've pleaded guilty to their charges, but they've said that they will help correspond with further with the case so they get a shorter sentence. Sam Bankman-Fried, however, did plead not guilty, giving him a little bit of time to be on bail. I think he had a $250 million bail. His parents' house was on the line or something. And then SBF got put on bail, and then it was reported that he could allegedly have been tampering with witnesses, trying to get them to change their evidence, and then he got banned from using applications like Telegram, I believe, and he got banned from using a VPN. So there's been ongoing drama about this scenario, we should say. So taking a look at this, according to the report by John Ray, FTX CEO and his team have allegedly filed a lawsuit against the Bahamian branch of the company. The dispute is ownership of the company, from which there will be much deliberation and could take a significant amount of time to resolve via the court system. In November, we reported on allegations in association with FTX Digital Markets, the Bahamian branch of FTX, and what was alleged to have happened with customer funds. However, in a shocking turn of events, the two sides of the company are seemingly willing to take the deliberation to court. Consequently, this will delay any progressions in the eventual return of partial customer funds, if any. The two sides of the company appear to be working alongside each other, but this no longer seems to be the case. So I'm sure we'll have more news about this on Marvel in the next couple of weeks. Let's take a look at this and see what happens. Tim's got an unpopular opinion about SBF. Let's read this. He messed up but didn't do anything malicious on purpose, but he did ruin a lot of people, so not sure that is a good enough excuse. Now, Tim, that is an unpopular opinion. I would definitely agree. I don't agree with the opinion. I think he gives across that persona. He purposely makes himself look like a little geek that's a little bit unsure and doesn't know what to do with himself, but he has created some massive problems within that company. Maybe he got cornered into the decision, but he definitely knew what he was doing. That is my opinion on it anyway. Let me know your opinions on Sam Bankman-Fried in the chat. It's very, very interesting to see how that is going. Let's take a look at the next article here. Coinbase says ChatGPT didn't meet its token review standards. Now, this article does make me feel a little bit better. Now, ChatGPT has been taking over the world in the entrepreneur, what should I call it? discussions and forums we see online, ChatGPT is being said as the light and savior that can save us so much time. But ChatGPT is absolutely petrifying to me. The fact that we can use AI to do so many different things now is so concerning. Developers are developing this product that is wiping out millions of jobs, and especially I feel like they're wiping out their own jobs first. AI is completing development jobs before it's completing anything else. They're putting themselves out of business in a sense. But taking a look at this, we did read earlier this week that ChatGPT was able to find bugs within a smart contract written in Solidity, so Ethereum's native language. But Coinbase have come back and said that ChatGPT didn't meet its token review standard. And this is a positive thing, I think. We don't want ChatGPT taking out all of the roles of a human. I mean, it would be good to make sure that the contracts are correct, but it's still pretty petrifying that ChatGPT could do anything. I did read a tweet the other day, which is quite interesting. ChatGPT 3.5, they keep upgrading it and making it better and better and better. If you ask 3.5 what would happen if you put a diamond in a thimble in a mug and tipped upside down on a bed and then put it on a chair, it would say that the diamond is still in the thimble, in the mug, on the chair. But if you ask the new version of ChatGPT that has been updated even more, it can recognize that when the cup was tipped over, the thimble will have fallen out with the diamond inside. So it's the diamond's still on the bed, if that makes sense, rather than still being in the cup, in the thimble, on the side. It can recognize that when you've tipped the cup over and you pull it back again, the things inside will have fallen out. So it's getting real world understandings more and more, and it is a little bit scary, and it's taking over a huge amount of things. Jason Smith, except predict the launch date of Twitter of Crypto Saving Expert. No, it did not predict the launch date of Crypto Saving Expert, but we are now live. We are one of the best. Well, I would personally be a little bit biased and say we are the best crypto website out there. We have completely free news, education, guides, and market data as well. So if you haven't already, make sure to check out Crypto Saving Expert. Just go over to the website, click this blue button, put in your email address, and if you tick that little box at the end, you get access to our newsletter that is launched every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. Unfortunately, you have just missed today's, but you'll be able to get the next one. Tim said I put in one of my A-level questions from that I sat like 10 years ago, and it did the working correctly but gave an incorrect answer. Interesting. Now, I have actually tried out ChatGPT, tried to get it to give me some inspiration for a video script, some things like that, and I've just found this, I mean, this is on a couple of months ago, this was on the early stages of what was released. And I just found that some of the facts were wrong, and I spent more time fact-checking things than I actually did actually creating some sort of content. So I'd say it's great if you have an idea and you want to get inspiration of which ways you could branch off that actual idea, but all in all, I wouldn't use it as a trusted source right now. But as I said, the technology is continuing to be improved. It's funny that you say that you put one of your A-level questions in there, because I did a maths degree and I put my dissertation question into ChatGPT and it fired out all of the code required that took me months of hard work. So I was absolutely devastated, but also it's very, very scary that people in universities now can just type in their dissertation question and there you go. I mean, obviously mine was a maths course, so it was all coded related, and with code, there's only a certain amount of ways that you can create the thing, and you can't really, it's hard to copyright code essentially, isn't it, if it's specific question trying to perform a specific task. So people writing code for their dissertations can just copy and paste that, maybe change a few of the variable name rounds, and there you go. So that is pretty petrifying. I'm glad it wasn't around during my time, because I actually learnt what I was pretending to, what I should have been learning about and not pretending to. But this is the problems that we're going to face with the education system in the next couple of years as well, with AI improving so much. Let's take a look at how many followers we have gained in today's stream. We are currently on 2,768 subscribers. We are trying to get to 2,775 by the end of today's stream. So please don't forget to like and subscribe and press that bell notification button to help us grow the channel as big as possible. We are on a mission to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so we can get one of those lovely big plaques. Jordan said I can put it on the wall behind me, so I'll pretend it's mine. mine. But I would really, really greatly appreciate that if you could help us on our journey to do so. Let's take a look at this article anyway. I've been blabbering on for too long, but we haven't even got into the depth of the article. Coinbase's site ChatGPT shows enough potential to improve productivity across a wide range of development and engineering tasks. However, the chatbot did not hit the accuracy bar to clearly demonstrate that it should be integrated into our asset review process. The exchange said it had to teach ChatGPT how to identify risks under its security review framework, as the bot originally lacked a clear and standard security review framework for token smart contracts. With the framework fed to ChatGPT, Coinbase said the AI-powered chatbot produced 12 results similar to a manual report by a Coinbase engineer out of 20 smart contracts tested. In 5 out of the 8 misses, however, ChatGPT incorrectly labelled a high-risk asset as a low-risk, which is the worst-case failure. And we can also see here, while the efficiency of a ChatGPT review is remarkable, there are still some limitations that impair the tool's accuracy. We anticipate that the further prompt engineering, we can drive the accuracy of the tool up. However, the tool cannot solely be relied upon to perform a security review. This is something that I've just been saying. Essentially, we can use them to help us in any way possible and fit in the puzzle whenever we can and give us some ideas of what leads we should take to investigate a little bit more, but we shouldn't just rely on this just yet. And I'm sure in the future it's going to get scarily accurate, and maybe in the future we can 100% rely on that, but we'll see what's to come. Let's check how the stream is going. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and press that bell notification button to help us grow the channel as big as possible. We are trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we really need your help to do so. We have one final article today, and then we are cracking on with some Bitcoin analysis. We have a huge amount of information in store today, so let's check this out. We have, first of all, Bitcoin correlation with stocks drops to post-FTX level as investors seek safe havens. So we've seen the banking industry absolutely have a catastrophic fall on the stock market, and this is because of the lack of trust within the banking industry in the US right now and the contagion which is taking place. Now we are seeing that people are moving to Bitcoin for a safe haven. In fact, we saw the former CTO of Coinbase yesterday put on $1 million bet that he expects Bitcoin to reach $1 million within the next 90 days. Give me your opinions of that in the chat. That is an interesting topic to have. If Bitcoin hits $1 million within the next 90 days, what are you actually going to do? Because that's an interesting conversation to have as well. Everyone loves the fact that Bitcoin could get to $1 million. A lot of people are saying this is unrealistic. It's a marketing stunt. Either way, I'd be really interested to know, if we got to June this year and Bitcoin hit $1 million, would you sell? What would you do? Because it would most likely be, 90% likely be, because there is a much greater issue. 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. This is 256 is put in the chat exactly. If Bitcoin were to go to $1 million within the next 3 months, it would be because this banking fear has turned into a huge issue, and the value of the dollar has completely tanked, and we've seen hyperinflation. So the price of Bitcoin, obviously compared to the dollar, if the value of the US dollar completely tanks, performs pretty nicely. It's pretty scary to see. Let's take a look at this. Tim said, I would say retire, but what will the banking system be? Would cash be worth anything? Are we all screwed? That is exactly what I'm worried about. And everybody who's cheering on this $1 million Bitcoin, I don't think they've thought about the bigger picture. The majority of people will be in a horrific position. Only those that have managed to understand this, foresee this coming, buy into assets like gold, real estate, silver, and Bitcoin, will have that hedge against the inflation that we're seeing, but the majority of people will lose the majority of their wealth if we were to see hyperinflation on that scale. So it's a scary time. But obviously everybody here is aware of cryptocurrencies and knows how they can better their positions, but it is still a little bit petrifying to take a look at. But we are seeing, because of all of this, the markets are crashing, but Bitcoin is on the rise. It just doesn't care about any of the negativity. It is a safe haven. There is only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. That is written in the code, and it will never ever change. So let's take a look at the Bitcoin charts now and see what is happening here. First of all, let's take a look at the Fear and Greed Index, because this is at a high, a very big high. We are at 68 on the Fear and Greed Index, and that is the highest we've seen in a very long time. So let's take a look at why the markets are feeling particularly greedy. We have on the daily chart, we have this breakthrough from this level of resistance at $25,250, and we have now touched that higher level that we've been looking at on this channel for months. We've been saying on the channel here, literally for weeks, actually, no, I would say months, since the start of the year, that if we break through that $25,250 level, there's no major resistances stopping us shooting up to that $28,000 level, because this time and this time and this kind of wick down here is the only time we've traded within this range before. So we've not seen much price consolidation within that range, and therefore we don't have any major levels of resistance. So we just shot straight through that, and we are now at that higher level. Looking at the closer time frames to see what is going to happen next, we can take a look here. I have currently on the 1 hour chart got a level of support at around $27,500. We also have a level of resistance at that $28,320 level. So I'm waiting to see if we can close any candles above that level of resistance. I would say right now this is an inclining triangle and therefore has a higher probability of breaking to the upside, but we will see how this plays out. It's looking very, very exciting. Let's take a look now, actually, back on this topic of this move to the upside. I would like to head over to Twitter and see over here, because let's take a look. Jason, I will answer that question in just a second. What I want to take a look at is Plan B, because Plan B tweeted about this a couple of weeks ago. I swear he got a huge amount of hate for this comment that I'm trying to find. He tweeted a couple, and maybe this is going to be too difficult to find. He tweeted a couple of weeks ago essentially saying the price of Bitcoin could shoot up within the next 2 weeks a huge amount, higher than anybody is expecting, and he was spot on. Now Plan B got a huge amount of hate. Now he created an indicator, or didn't create an indicator, found the what's his indicator called? I can't remember what it's called. And he got a huge amount of hate because towards the end of the bull market, his indicator no longer was relevant. But a plan works until it doesn't. Let's take a look at this. No, I can't find the tweet. It's just distracting. Basically, he said the price of Bitcoin has moved by a huge level within 2 weeks before, and there's nothing saying that it won't happen again, and that exact same thing happened again. He got discredited a lot because his theory fell apart during the end of the bull market of 2021, but throughout the whole bull market he was pretty accurate, and he created a huge following within a very short period of time because his stock to flow model, here we go, was very, very reliable. So it was a very interesting topic to talk about. Let me check the chat now and answer this question. So Jason Smith is saying, Bitcoin question, do you think it would be better to put 100% of an allocation into buying Bitcoin, or leverage and aggressive long with 50% and hold the rest as a buffer? Now, interesting question, because there are two ways to look at that. If you were to put 100% of an allocation into Bitcoin, first, obviously as nothing is financial advice, I would like to make that clear before I answer this question. I cannot give any advice to a specific portfolio. I am not a financial advisor. I throw all of my money at shitcoins and hope for the best. Let's take a look at this. I'm only joking. I am a cryptocurrency trader, but I only manage my own portfolio. I do not give advice on others. We can see here, Jason, if I were to put 100% of a specific allocation into Bitcoin, first of all, I would be dollar cost averaging in and dollar cost averaging out. I would never place 100% of my funds into Bitcoin at one go. I am a dollar cost averager through and through, because it just means that you could be so much less emotional on your trade. It means if the price moves down, you're not going to feel like you should sell your whole position and try and buy in at a lower price. You have that benefit of just feeling a little bit less emotional about your position, whichever way the market moves. If the market moves up after you've dollar cost averaged in, brilliant, you're in profits. And if the market moves down, you can start to dollar cost average and bring your entry price down. The alternative to that is if you put 100% of your position into your portfolio into the position, and then the market starts to move down, you'll start getting a little bit emotional, and you'll start thinking to yourself, I could sell it now and buy in lower, and then you end up selling the highs, buying the highs, selling the lows over and over again, and losing your whole portfolio. So the first thing I would say is dollar cost averaging in is the strategy that I will live and breathe by over and over again. The other thing was, would it be better to do a leverage position with 50% and hold the rest as a buffer? If you have the intention to just put that whole allocation towards Bitcoin and you're using the other 50% to put in as to secure the leverage, I would say dollar cost averaging in on spot is something that I would personally do instead, just because the transaction fees are lower. The only reason I would choose to put 50% in and use a 2x leverage and have the other 50% free is if I wanted to keep some capital aside to dollar cost average into Bitcoin a little bit more or into other assets. Entering a 2x leverage position now means that your liquidation price is going to be around $14,000. And I don't know on that one. I'm still not convinced. Have we seen the low for Bitcoin? I am pretty confident we have. But if something terrible were to happen, if a war to begin, or if we were to see bigger issues within the traditional financial system, my bear market bottom prediction was actually at $14,000. We haven't hit that yet. At the moment, I'm not expecting it to. But if something on a wider scale in macroeconomics goes terribly, terribly wrong, like we did with the COVID pandemic, completely unexpected, a black swan event, you never know what can happen. So it depends how much risk you would like to take on. Taking a look at this, Tim's advice was a leverage position after we have gone up 70% in 3 months is scary. Even buying Bitcoin now is scary. What are your targets to sell? Do you have any targets? Have you been DCAing? That is a great question to ask. It always terrifies me to buy in at higher prices. A lot of people, I've spoke to this about this to that Martini guy on one of these streams before, on the Crypto Saving Expert live streams. If you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe and press that bell notification button, and make sure to press that bell notification button, because sometimes, quite often, we are joined by that Martini guy as well, so you can hear us both waffle on instead of just me. What was I saying? What was I going down here? Oh yeah, so I was saying, during the bear market, during the terrible times when the markets are moving down and down and down, everybody is shouting for lower prices and nobody wants to buy the dip. But the one thing that I think is more frightening than buying the dip when everybody else is saying lower prices is buying in at a higher level and pulling your average entry price up. I cannot explain the fear that gives me. I've taught myself to be fearful when everybody else is greedy and greedy when everyone else is fearful. So when everybody else is feeling fearful and saying the markets are going to go lower, I use that as a buy signal and I dollar cost average in. And I feel quite comfortable doing that. What I don't feel comfortable doing is bringing my average entry point up, but that is something you have to accept during a bull market, unfortunately, because sometimes the opportunity you're going to get now, you may never see again, even though you've had a better opportunity that you've taken advantage of in the past. So that is what we are looking at there. Let's take a look at the next we're done with the articles. Do you know what we haven't done? That's why I'm not in the game. Change the orange line around to Bitcoin analysis. Woo! I really like the new layout. Let me know what you think in the chat. Tim said November to January, I was always crying putting money into crypto. Honestly, so November to January was an incredibly low time for the entire cryptocurrency markets. I've been working full time in crypto for 3 years now, and I have never ever felt as doom and gloom as this Christmas. It felt like the whole thing was just going down forever, and I knew it was soon. I was dollar cost averaging in, but I was just thinking, come on, do something. And definitely what got me through was working part of the Crypto Saving Expert team. Prior to working at Crypto Saving Expert, I was a one-man band, and it was fun, it was great, but just being part of a team just made the bear market so much better. So if you do need some help, I would definitely recommend just getting yourself involved in some communities, so that when the markets do have dips to the downside, you have others to discuss and just clear your mind of ideas. If you're working alone, it's very easy to get tunnel vision on one theory and run with it without looking at the bigger picture. And that's not even a thing just for bear markets as well. In the bull market, we can see pullbacks on Bitcoin of 40%, 50%, and the altcoins all get dragged down with it. So that's a piece of advice that you could take all year round for cryptocurrency as well. Just something to keep in mind. Let's take a look at the next chart here. We have the Bitcoin futures chart here. We are looking at the CME gaps of Bitcoin. We've filled this gap here that we've been talking about for ages on the channel at $28,800. That gap has been filled. We've seen price action within that range. We have another one up at 35,360, and we have another one down at 20,320. So we can remove this one now. Delete. So that one is gone. We have these two magnets on the price of Bitcoin. Which one do we think will fill first? When we were down at these levels, me and Jordan were sat on these live streams shouting that we were going to break that CME gap up there, fill that CME gap, because Bitcoin takes the path of most pain, especially at these points. Everybody was incredibly bearish, and we just shot up and filled that CME gap, no problem. So it'll be very interesting to see which gap closes first. We are only on Tuesday, so we have quite a bit of movement this week, but towards Thursday, Friday, I always get a little bit nervous of where the CME gap is going to open, but we cover that on these live streams. So if you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe and press that bell notification button. Tim says agreed, agreed, and agreed. Perfect. Just what we want to hear on the streams. One last thing I want to look at is the Bitcoin dominance right now. So taking a look at the daily chart for the Bitcoin dominance, it has absolutely soared. And usually this means it could be a pretty exciting time for Ethereum and some altcoins as well. So that is what I am personally taking a look at. Just a little sneak peek at what I'm doing in my spare time, taking advantage of. That is what I'm looking at right now. Bitcoin's pumped. Maybe it's time for Ethereum and some altcoins to have their moment. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, this pump is for different reasons. It's because of the fear within the banking industry. But either way, we could see some nice movements within the next couple of weeks. So far, 2023 has treated us absolutely amazingly. We cannot complain at all within the cryptocurrency industry. So I'm very excited to see what's to come for the rest of the year. Before we close off today's stream, let's see how many subscribers we are on. We are currently on 2,769. Please make sure, if you haven't already, to like and subscribe and press that bell notification button so that you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We do these live streams every single weekday covering what is happening in the markets. But that is all for today, so thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much.